The movie Jurassic Park has taught us that scientists shouldn't experiment with the DNA of extinct creatures, as it could end badly. Nonetheless, given the rapidly advancing science and the opportunities that open up, scientists can't pass up the chance to revive extinct animals. Thus, they're already actively engaging in attempts to resurrect creatures that have long been gone. In today's video, we'll tell you about 10 extinct animals that scientists are going to revive in the near future. If you thought that unicorns were fictional creatures you could only meet on the pages of fairy tales or in science fiction movies, you were right, but only to some extent. Unicorns did really exist, though they looked a little different than what we've seen in the movies. One perfect example is the Siberian unicorn, or to be more precise, the Siberian elasmotherium. It's an extinct species of rhino that lived in Eurasia during the Middle Pleistocene period. Scientists believe these particular creatures, relatives of modern rhinos, went extinct about 29,000 years ago. From a biological point of view, scientists believe these species went extinct relatively recently, and thus could be resurrected. The permafrost has well preserved the remains of this real unicorn, which gives scientists a real chance for revival. Like mammoths, saber-toothed tigers, or rather, saber-toothed cats, are among the most famous extinct animals in the world. Just think of the famous Ice Age cartoon, where the saber-toothed tiger Diego is one of the main characters. The last saber-toothed tigers became extinct about 10,000 to 11,000 years ago. Scientists believe they were the first animals on the planet to go completely extinct because of humans. However, mankind might still get a chance to apologize to these creatures by reviving them. Scientists believe that the remains of saber-toothed tigers preserved in permafrost can serve as sources of DNA. If scientists manage to extract the genes, they will need to find a surrogate mother. According to researchers, the best candidate is the African lioness, believed to be the optimal egg donor. The Irish elk, also known as the giant elk, is an extinct ungulate mammal from the Cervidae family. This species existed from the late Pleistocene to the early Holocene, about 10,000 to 13,000 years ago, throughout Eurasia and North Africa. Many remains have been found in the peatlands of Ireland, hence the name of the species. Scientists note that the Irish elk was one of the largest deer species ever to exist, with the height of the largest individuals exceeding 2 meters at the withers, and the distance between the tips of their horns reaching up to 4 meters. Scientists are currently planning on reviving this species. Right now, they're tackling one of the biggest problems: finding living species that are most similar to the extinct ones. If the search is successful, the Irish elk may well be revived. The dodo is an extinct flightless bird that was endemic to the island of Mauritius in the Indian Ocean. Along with mammoths and dinosaurs, the dodo is one of the best-known extinct species and the most famous extinct bird in the world. Unfortunately, humans were the reason the dodo went extinct. Before people began populating Mauritius, the dodo lived in isolation, free from predators. Scientists believe this is why the dodo wasn't afraid of humans, who in turn took advantage of the bird's defenselessness. Throughout the 17th century, people destroyed the dodo's natural habitat, while animals brought by humans ravaged the birds' nests and competed with them for limited food resources. The last Mauritian dodo died in 1662. Many scientists want to revive the dodo, believing it was unfairly wiped out. They plan to combine the cells of the dodo's closest relative, the Nicobar pigeon, with those of the dodo to potentially revive the species. Tasmania, an Australian island, is now primarily known for the Tasmanian devils, somewhat creepy mammals endemic to the island. However, until relatively recently, there was another fascinating species living in Tasmania, known as the marsupial wolf, or Tasmanian wolf. The last wild marsupial wolf was killed on May 13, 1930, and the last one in captivity died of old age in 1936 at a private zoo. Despite the species seemingly disappearing forever, scientists believe they might be able to revive it. In 1999, the National Museum of Australia in Sydney announced a project to clone the marsupial wolf using DNA from a pup preserved in alcohol at the museum. DNA was extracted in late 2002, but the samples were too damaged to be usable. On February 15, 2005, the project was suspended. However, in May 2008, scientists managed to get some of the marsupial wolf's genes to function in a mouse embryo. The alcohol-preserved pup, stored in Sydney's museum for over 100 years, served as the source of the genetic material. It's very likely that scientists will eventually be able to resurrect the thylacine, even if it takes hundreds of attempts. The aurochs, an extinct ungulate mammal domesticated by ancient settlers of India and Eurasia around 10,000 years ago, is considered one of the ancestors of modern cattle. Unfortunately, the species was declared extinct in the 17th century when the last aurochs died of disease. Scientists are planning on resurrecting the aurochs through backbreeding primitive European cattle breeds. While the animals bred this way won't be identical to the extinct aurochs, scientists believe there will be very few differences. This experiment has a high chance of success, as similar initiatives with heck cattle in the 20th century were partially successful. The Carolina parakeet was a bird from the parrot family that lived in North America until it was exterminated by hunters, leading to the species being declared extinct. While it's possible to understand the reasons behind the extermination, it's impossible to accept it, as it was simply tragic. Poachers hunted the Carolina parakeet for its incredibly beautiful feathers, which were used at the time in the production of expensive ladies' hats. The demand for these hats eventually led to the Carolina parakeet being declared completely extinct in 1939. However, scientists are now working on reviving these remarkable birds. They have sequenced the DNA of the Carolina parakeet from fragments of its eggshells stored in the New York State Museum. Geneticists plan to use a female black-headed parrot, Nandeus nende, as a surrogate. Although the scientists' intentions are good, many people fear that after the revival of these parrots, the story of their extermination may tragically repeat itself. Unlike the other animals featured in this video, the ivory-billed woodpecker is not officially recognized as completely extinct. It is listed as a species that is critically endangered. However, since there are only a few of these woodpeckers left in the world, most ornithologists consider the species to be effectively extinct. When it comes to resurrecting extinct animals, one can't fail to mention mammoths, as these mammals are perhaps the most famous extinct creatures in the world. This is largely due to the fact that mammoths receive a lot of attention in pop culture. Many movies and cartoons have been made about them, such as Ice Age, which features Manny the mammoth. That's why many people are eagerly awaiting the resurrection of mammoths. They're very interested in seeing how these animals actually looked. Apparently, these wishes might come true soon, since scientists often find remains of mammoths in the permafrost. Just recently, a mammoth that lived 4,300 years ago was found on Wrangel Island in the Arctic Ocean. Scientists believe that resurrecting mammoths is easier than other extinct animals because the permafrost prevents them from completely decomposing, preserving important genetic material. Scientists have already extracted cells from the remains of many mammoths and plan to combine mammoth genes with the genome of an elephant embryo to create a hybrid, a mammoth elephant with all the mammoth traits we know from movies and books. And that's it for today. If you had the ability to revive any animal, which one would it be? Also, do you think it should be done at all? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.